Ladies and gentlemen, Eagle Nation, welcome on in. It is official. The Philadelphia Eagles have punched their ticket to the NFC Championship game next week. The Eagles are now one of the final two remaining teams in the NFC. My, oh my, does it feel good? Does it feel good? The Eagles are the first team in the NFC to punch their ticket to the championship game. They will await the game tomorrow, Niners and Cowboys, to see who they will play. But what an absolutely inspirational night, man. What a freaking night. What a night. The Eagles give them no chance of coming back here in the second half, and they put their foot on their throat. And the Eagles, baby, are going to the NFC Championship for the first time since 2017. Welcome on into A to Z Philly RB here, Eagles post-game live show. Give me your thoughts. Drop how you are feeling right down there in the chat. We're live on Facebook. We're live on 2 YouTube channels. What is going on? Today's show presented by BetMGM, our newest sponsor here. Shout out to BetMGM. Hope you took the spread. Hope you took the spread at halftime. The Eagles, in a poetic fashion, by the way. Can we talk about how poetic it is that the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017, in one of the most dominating performances at the Link, take down the Minnesota Vikings 38-7, and here they find themselves 5 years later taking down the Giants 38-7 on a final ticket punched by Kenny Gainwell into the end zone. Boy, you know I love the Eagles running game, but my gosh, the Eagles running game was absolutely phenomenal. Kenny Gainwell punches it in for a 35-yard touchdown. I have to be honest here. You know, I should have stuck to my gut. Because the Philadelphia Eagles were matched up against the Giants, and originally I said, I want the Giants. The Eagles are going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. And then the people tried to talk me out of it. They said, yo, the Giants are good. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. Daniel Jones is guns and blazing. He's coming. Well, guess what? He came into the trap known as Philadelphia, the Link in the playoffs. There was no shot. Kudos to the Giants on a good season. Dayball, great coach, great future. But your time is up because you came into the reef of the Link in the playoffs. The Link is a different beast. And Jalen Hurts was ready to go. The running game was ready to go. I got to give some damn credit to not only Shane Steichen, but Jonathan Gannon. That is right. All of the coaches, A+ tonight. Nick Sirianni, of course. I mean, they just punched every right button in this game. They ran the ball how many times tonight? 44 times. They ran the ball 44 times. If you had told me the Eagles were going to run the ball 44 times, I would have said you are absolutely out of your mind. But they stuck with what worked. And everybody going into this game talked about Daniel Jones on the ground. They talked about Saquon Barkley. And yes, he is a fantastic weapon. But guess what? Saquon Barkley tonight, 61 yards on 9 carries. He had 7 yards at halftime. He had one big run early in the third quarter. He was completely shut down by the menaces known as the Eagles defensive line. Okay, that's what a freaking defensive line looks like. That's what a D-line looks like. Sweat, Reddick with a big night. By the way, Sweat absolutely, I mean, that was one of the best strip sacks I've seen, what he did there in the fourth quarter for Josh Sweat. But Hassan Reddick with 2 sacks on the first drive of the game, setting the tone. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, all of them, man. Kudos to them. And Jonathan Gannon brought pressure all night long. He did not hesitate. He went after Daniel Jones. He brought a couple disguise blitzes, and Daniel Jones just couldn't do anything. I knew if the Eagles cut off the lifeline of Saquon Barkley, if they cut that source of life, this was going to be an easy game, and it certainly was. And the Eagles just never looked back on the offensive side of the ball. So what a massive performance. Honestly, let me know in the chat right now, wherever you're watching. Shout out to everybody in here. Hit the like button. Does anybody deserve less than an A+ tonight? I was trying to go down the list and think, like, which player, which coach didn't do their job to the full extent tonight? I can't think of one. I think every person in this organization deserves an A+ tonight. This was a massive blow away, and it wasn't close. And you could just see the skill gap. Okay, they tried to say the Eagles were rusty. They tried to say the Eagles were done because of Gardner Minshew. Okay, this is what an MVP quarterback looks like. Don't tell me about a system quarterback. All right, Chris Sims. Don't tell me about a quarterback that's part of the system. This man is the damn MVP. They might as well give him the trophy tonight. They might as well give him the trophy tonight. You saw what it looked like with Minshew. This is what an MVP quarterback looks like. Kudos to Jalen Hurts, sticking in there all night, utilizing his legs, throwing the ball around. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I was thoroughly impressed with every part of this game tonight. I was thoroughly impressed. We're gonna go throughout the box where we'll talk about it. I mean, you come out if you're the Eagles in this game, and obviously they dominated in the first half. You know, 2 big touchdowns early. The Giants are a team that wants to keep it close. The Eagles said, nope, we are going to step on your neck from the beginning. They came out confident. They didn't worry about the noise, the outside drama. No, they came in and said, we are the better team, and we are going to dominate this football game. And there was no looking back. And, you know, obviously they had a couple long drives early. Then you start off the third quarter, and the Philadelphia Eagles stopped the Giants immediately. I thought that was huge. I thought that was huge because the New York Giants came into that third quarter and they said, if we can just, you know, put together a little drive, if we can get some momentum, maybe you get back in this football game. Nope. Eagles cut that line right away. The Eagles go 3 and out. The Giants end up going on a touchdown drive. But the problem is that they took 6 minutes to do so. And by that time, you're looking up, it's the fourth quarter. And I have to be honest, again, Brian Daboll is a great coach, but what I was very thoroughly surprised with is the fact that he punted in the fourth quarter with 13 minutes to go, down 21. And he should be criticized for, I mean, how are you? He gave up the game. You gave up any chance. I mean, this is a playoff game, win or go home. And he said, nope, we're going to punt it away. And the Eagles milked the clock with an 8-minute drive. Game over. And then, by the way, again, Kenny Gainwell, we're going to get to him in a little while. I mean, what he did was fantastic after not playing a lot tonight. But, yeah, Brian Daboll kind of just conceded the game at that point. And the Eagles just had the swagger. They had the talent. I mean, there's just a huge gap here. And they brought pressure to Saquon. They did not let him get any momentum other than one big run. And they brought the beating to Daniel Jones. And, man, the offense was clicking all night long. We'll get to some comments here in just a minute. Give me one word to describe this Eagles game. If you could sum up how you're feeling right now, because I mean, my throat hurts. I'm running. I'm screaming. I'm going crazy for this game. In fact, the second half, for once, I wasn't nervous a tad. I wasn't nervous a bit. The Giants scored. I said, who cares? You know, they're not going to come back in this game. You could just see the energy was all with the Eagles. And I credit a lot of that actually to the home crowd. Like I said, the Giants went and beat Minnesota on the road, but they were coming into a different beast tonight. This is the link, ladies and gentlemen. This is playoff football in the best freaking city in America. And they weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for it. Shout out to Ali here. He says, I want Dallas. I do not want them to think they have a chance against us. I want Dallas. They have a fact. The fact is they have a win over us. Makes me sick. Bring on Dallas. Yo, this is a great question that we are going to get to. That's actually a great question. I was just talking about that with somebody in terms of who the Eagles should want to see. Should they actually want a matchup against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship? Or do they want the 49ers to win with that electric defense? That is an interesting question that I will definitely get to later on here in the show. But anyway, I have to give a special shout out to this running game. And before I do that, let me read some of these words. You guys are killing it in the chat. Wherever you're watching, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube, A to Z Philly. This is a special night for Eagles fans, man. Joe says our defense is number 1. Don says EAGLES. Let's see. Some of the words in the chat. Exciting, says L. Sean says elated. Love it. JB, what's up, man? Ali says domination. Robert says excellent. Prince says them. JB says dogs. A man called David says fantastic. Barbara says amazing on Facebook. I love it. My word of the night is just poetic. Poetic. The fact that the Eagles come in here and they dominate the New York Giants and they finish this game off 38-7. Stars are aligning, ladies and gentlemen. You have a lot of football left to play, 2 more games, but the fact that they get the number one seed and they win one game. And here we are in the NFC Championship game. Special feeling, special team. You can throw away all those Russ comments. You can throw away the fact that Hurts didn't look good. No. This is the most talented team in the NFL. The question is, will they come out? Will they execute the way that they did tonight? Because let me tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. If they come out and execute the way they did tonight, nobody is stopping this team. Nobody. Not the Bills, not the Chiefs, and not Brock Purdy. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm just saying it. But they have to take what they did tonight, and that is the textbook going forward. That is the example, because there is nothing to complain about tonight. There is absolutely nothing to complain about tonight. And I want to give a special shout out. Shout out to Marsha. This is phenomenal. Dwayne says Hurts MVP. AK, what's going on, man? I need to give a special shout out here to the running game, because not only did Shane Steichen stick with the ground attack, but man, were they special. And how about a guy like Kenneth Gainwell, who wasn't even, he wasn't a part of the offense all season. He goes on a big run late, but everything leading up to that 8-minute drive that the Eagles had in the fourth quarter, Kenny Gainwell, he's muscling through at the end of runs. He's pushing guys off. He was dead to rights on a 3rd and 12, and he pushes through for 4 more yards, taking advantage of the opportunity. Okay, the giant killer, like I said at halftime here on the show, you knew that Boston Scott was getting a touchdown tonight. It's just when and where. Boston Scott was punching it in the end zone, but still, 32 yards a night for Boston Scott. He was the 4th leading rusher. Boston Scott had 32 yards on the ground. He was the 4th leading rusher. This is the formula for the Eagles hoisting another trophy. Kenneth Gainwell had 112 yards on the ground, 12 carries. Miles Sanders, 90 yards on 17 carries. Miles only had 4 carries in the second half, but he had 13 in the first half. He set the tempo. And I'm perfectly fine with going to Gainwell in the second half. He was fresh. He was ready to go. And it's great to see him, man. Jalen Hurts, 34 yards on the ground. Took maybe 1 or 2 hits I didn't like to see, kind of like grimacing a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But it doesn't matter, because he was good. He was good to go. Every weapon on this offense was used to perfection tonight. A.J. Brown was probably the most non-used weapon. He was over there on the bench late in the game. But you know what? If A.J. Brown is the most non-used weapon and you're putting up 38 points, you're doing something right. Devontae with 61 yards. Dallas Goedert with 58 yards. Both of them had a touchdown. A.J. with 22. Everybody contributed. And then again, on the defensive side, 5 sacks for this Eagles defensive line, who just blew everybody away in the regular season. And, Jake Elliott had to get his little kick in there. 12 for 12 now, postseason career. Jake Elliott is 100% in the playoffs. So going to be valuable, moving forward. And I mean, I just sat back in the second half. I didn't even say much. I was just happy. Look, guys, when you go throughout the years, and when you look at what happened to this Eagles team, I don't want to get all reflective tonight, but I just have to say it. Like, it is absolutely miraculous that we can sit here and feel like this tonight. When look at 2 years ago, right? The Eagles come off the Super Bowl high. You think that team's going to be a juggernaut for 4 to 5 years. Then everything crumples. You lose the coach, you lose the quarterback. Probably should have lost the GM, but man, am I happy Howie Roseman is the GM of this team. And just 2 years later, you draft the quarterback, and, he comes in his first year as a decoy, and here he is 2 years later, which he should be the MVP of the league, and maybe now with a chance, a good chance to lead the team back to the Super Bowl. I mean, this is nuts. I saw a stat midway through the game. It said the Eagles are the first team ever in a 5-year span to get the number 1 seed with different quarterbacks and different coaches. Fantastic job. Jalen Hurts, the growth. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about him at this point, except, he's a dog. He had this team ready. Nick had this team ready. They were pumped. Shout out to Hayden. He says, who do you want to see next weekend? And do you think the Eagles can take the Niners down? A lot of people doubting them against them. I think they can. once again, we're definitely gonna hit this question later on, but I'm telling you right now, Hayden, and everyone in this chat, the Eagles can beat anybody. The other team should be asking this about the Eagles. Can we stay with the Eagles? Because what I saw tonight, the firepower is across the board. The firepower is across the board. And now that the Eagles took out the good journey team, the good story team, that's what the Giants are. They're the good story. They weren't ready for this experience, man. I said this before the game on Twitter. Daniel Jones has never played in an atmosphere like he was there tonight, right? I feel like the Fox broadcast was actually like dimming the crowd noise because they were probably so loud they couldn't hear themselves think. But I saw videos on Twitter, like the link was buzzing. The link was buzzing. And Daniel Jones, I mean, a couple times they had to call time, like he couldn't even hear himself think. He had a great year. He was not ready for this beast. And the Eagles got rid of that whole theory about not beating a team 3 times. Well, guess what? Guess what? They, they struggled with their third stringers in week 18. That had no correlation to today. The Eagles are the better team by a mile. By a mile. First time the Eagles have ever had 5 sacks in a playoff game. You had 1.5 from Reddick, 1.5 from Sweat. Cox, BG got one in there. I mean, it was just a dominating performance, and that's what it was. That's what it was. And the Eagles can hang with anybody. Can anybody else hang with the Eagles? That is the question that we need to ask, folks. But anyway, I hope you all took the line on this game. They were originally a 7.5-point favorite, and at halftime, it was actually 27.5 on the line. And this show, I actually put a bet on the Eagles before the game to take the spread. I'm glad I did. I was actually considering, because I said the Eagles would win by 8, and I was kind of pondering, like, should I do it? Should I not? But at the end of the day, the investment pays off, and you can actually turn your loss into a win anytime this weekend. Still 2 more games tomorrow, and you can go place a bet with our newest sponsor here on the show. That is BetMGM. Very excited to partner with them here on A to Z Philly. Download the BetMGM app and sign up for a free account using the promo code ATOZPA. And if you create a 1-game parlay with 4 legs and all of the legs except for 1 hit, you will get your bet back free up to $25 right into your account. Once again, you get your stake back free as a free bet up to $25 if all of the legs of your parlay this weekend hit except for 1. So very excited that this show is powered by BetMGM app. And excited to partner with them. So visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only, new and existing customer offer. If you or someone you know has a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm definitely taking my bet already for the Eagles to win next week. I'll tell you that right now, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter. The Niners, the Cowboys. Let me ask the chat. Can the Niners or the Cowboys hang with this team? Can anybody else hang with this team? Who do you want to play? Let me know. Let me know. If you had a choice, do you want to play the Dallas Cowboys or the San Francisco 49ers next week? I'll tell you what. This is an interesting question because, first off, I'm never rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to win a game. I promise you that. Never rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to win a game. If the Cowboys get to the NFC Championship, the only thing that would just sit in the back of my head is if there was a way they ever beat the Eagles, Eagles fans would never hear the end of it. But that wouldn't happen because the Eagles would absolutely put it to Dallas. And if they get there, like I said, I don't care who the Eagles play because right now I'm confident that they are going to dominate whichever team it is. I know the Eagles haven't played Dallas healthy this season fully, but guess what? Interception Prescott is not ready for the link. And Brock Purdy, although he's had a good run, although the Niners have a really good defense, and I do think that would be a better matchup, against the Eagles, I just don't see the firepower because Brock Purdy has never had a line running at him of Josh Sweat, Fletch, BG, Hargrave, and Reddick. Okay, Hassan Reddick is a dog. He had 16 sacks in the regular season, picks up almost 2 tonight. I mean, just a couple of those guys in the face of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy sits back there all pretty in the pocket. And again, I don't want to take away his success from going to be Mr. Irrelevant to being a quarterback potentially in the NFC Championship. I give the guy credit for doing what he's doing as the other quarterbacks got injured. The Niners are a good, sound team, but I'm sorry. Okay, somebody's got to knock them down, and the Eagles D line will be the one to do it if they do match up next weekend. So, I mean, I don't really care who it is. If it's Dallas, the Eagles better wipe the floor with them. They better wipe the floor with them. I think the Giants would be a good game, but right now the Eagles have to be the favorite amongst the NFL. Amongst the NFL. So who do you want to play? 49ers or Cowboys? Let me know. Let's go to Courtney here. Says 49ers. I'd rather play 49ers. Juan says I would like to see Dallas win, not because I don't think we could beat the Niners, but I want to knock off Dallas. And look, I'm right there with you. Beating the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship. I don't want them to get to the NFC Championship, but if they do, the Eagles beating the Cowboys would be the sweetest thing maybe ever, other than the Super Bowl. Honestly, like the Eagles having that over them and then going to win the Super Bowl, that would be it would be amazing. It would be amazing. Jamie says, we want Dallas. Sean says, you play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And that is my mindset. That is my mindset. I don't care who it is. They have to run through the beast of the East, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles, the beast of the National Conference. We'll call it that. Who cares? Okay. We're on the East Coast. They have to come into Philadelphia, and it is going to be a tough time for anybody because now, and watch how the tone changes around this team. Watch how the tone changes amongst all the talking heads because the Eagles showed up and showed out tonight, and they're not stalling. They're not sitting down for anybody. They are coming out. They're going to try to punch you in the mouth early on in this game. That is what the Philadelphia Eagles did. And I mean, this was simple. This was simple. You took Daniel Jones out of the game. What did he finish? Daniel Jones finished 15 for 27, 135 yards. He came back to life, and he looked like Daniel Jones. Now, he had a lot of pressure on him, but, the Giants didn't really get creative at all. They couldn't do anything. Once you took Saquon Barkley out of the game, that team was done. Because Darius Slayton, Richie James was their leading receiver. Nothing. Darius Slayton had one catch for 4 yards. They had him on locks all night. And by the time the pressure got to Daniel Jones, he couldn't even think twice. Bradbury, like I said, had a great interception in the first half. I loved the play out of Darius Slay, James Bradbury. I wish Slay would have had that pick at the end. It would have been sweet. But you look at, right, the turnover battle. I said that was going to be one of the main keys in this football game. The Philadelphia Eagles played an absolutely clean game. They did not turn the ball over. Meanwhile, the Giants did turn it over, and they should have turned it over about 2 or 3 times. They should have turned it over a couple times at least. So, yeah, man, I mean, this was just an impressive game. Philly Jackson says, don't matter. They have to come to the link, and we expect the same exact results like we did with the Giants. Let's see. Corey says, what was up with A.J. Brown? Seemed pretty frustrated. That's a good question, Corey, because I was wondering the same thing, and I said that, while I was watching the game in real time. What was going on with A.J. Brown? He looked pissed off on the sideline. Now, I was thinking either it could be, that he missed that ball in the end zone, or it could be that he wasn't feeling the best. Maybe something was injured, but, Nick tried to come over and kind of cheer him up a little bit, and he just seemed out of it. So I did think that was weird. And if he was pissed off at the game, like the fact that he didn't score or that he, didn't catch that ball, that shouldn't happen from A.J. Brown. And I'm sure he'll say that in his post-game press conference or in the interview when they talk to him near the locker. He shouldn't be doing that. But I'm not sure, so I'm not going to speak on it 100%. There were a couple plays where A.J. kind of like, he grabbed his leg as he was trying to get up. The camera switched off it quickly. There were a couple games where he didn't look really comfortable trying to get up. So maybe he was injured. But anyway, man, other than that, the Eagles 10 for 14 on third down. Everything, I mean, even that, like from the jump, the Eagles were getting first down after first down. And when they did get the third down, they were converting easily. The Giants were having a tough time. And even from the first drive, when the Eagles sacked them twice on third and fourth down, it's just how you set the tone in a football game. So, yeah, I love this game. I really did. 268 yards on the ground for the Philadelphia Eagles. 268 yards on the ground. That is the recipe. And this is why all season I said that the Philadelphia Eagles need to utilize their running game. But, obviously they want to come out, they want to deliver the big punch. Jalen Hurts can throw the ball wherever now. You have all these weapons, Goddard and Brown and Smith, but you have a Pro Bowl running back. And you had Kenneth Gainwell, who comes out of nowhere tonight. I mean, did anybody expect Gainwell to go over 100 yards? And then obviously Boston Scott, like, you can utilize all of them. Obviously, they can't get a lot of touches, especially when you're trying to play the way that you do. But even Jalen Hurts on the ground, everybody can contribute. That's what makes this offense so dangerous. That's what makes this team just elite above the rest. I don't know if anybody has weapons like this. Maybe Kansas City, but I don't know. The Eagles are talented across the board. So I love what I'm seeing, man. Ronald says, I want to play Dallas and then the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's an interesting ask. Eagles-Chiefs would be a good game. Eagles-Chiefs would be a good game. Sean says, send a crying towel to Max Kellerman Monday. They really called Daniel Jones a top 3 quarterback in the playoffs. Really? After one big, impressive game? They got humbled, man. They got humbled. And I know the Giants came into this saying, oh, well, there's no pressure and our season is a success and there's nothing else that we need to worry about and all this stuff. Well, guess what? You got embarrassed. Okay. I wonder if Giants Nation feel the same way they did coming into the game. Are they sitting there after getting their ass handed to them 38-7 saying, well, it was a good ride? Are they? Because they got their ass handed to them. So, I mean, what a game. Like I said, 44 carries. Everything went right for this team, man. Everything went right for this team. Let me ask you all here in the chat. Once again, welcome on in wherever you are watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to A to Z Philly on YouTube. Let me ask you this question. On a scale from 1 to 10, before we know who the Eagles are going to play, this is premature for sure. How confident are you in them winning next week and getting back to another Super Bowl? I mean, it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about. And that's why the number 1 seed is so important. Obviously we know this beforehand, but sometimes it's just so insane to think about that. You win one game, boom, here you are in the NFC Championship. And if we win, we're in the Super Bowl. I'm hyped, man. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped. The first half took a lot of energy out of me because I was screaming after you go up 14-0, but I'm confident, man. I'm confident. And by the way, how about Nick Sirianni at the end of the first half? Nick Sirianni was feeling himself all night. They were showing these slow-mo videos of him pumped up and going crazy with Steichen. How about Nick Sirianni telling the ref, I know what the F I'm doing? He said that, and the audio was picked up by the broadcast. The ref was trying to tell him that he can't stand down near the goal line. He said, I know what the F I'm doing. All right. And Nick Sirianni knows what he's doing. The Giants' biggest storyline was that this man was eating Pizza Hut during the week. Pizza Hut. Now, look, that's not my choice. All right. But if that's your biggest bulletin board material, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. But anyway, let's read some of these ratings. How confident are you on a scale 1 to 10? We have John who says 8.5. I like that. Jamie says 10. Michael Wilson says 10. Noah says 7. AJ with a 10. Jamie with a 10. Sean says 7.68%. Very interesting. Wondering how you calculated that one. Greg says 9.7. Jamie 10. Renee says 7. Ryan Rowe 10. Danny with a 9. Beyond with 100%. I love it. I love it. Bando says, I think the Eagles have 65-35 odds. Noah says 8.9 out of 10. Love it. Barbara says absolutely a 10. I'm loving this confidence, Eagle Nation. And look, when they're playing good, I'm going to tell you. When they're playing bad, I'm going to tell you. But tonight, if there's anybody out there that thinks that there was something to be concerned about tonight, or there was some, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This was up and down, top to bottom. This was an A-plus performance across the board. I was a little bit worried about the coaching and whether they would come out and throw the ball 10 times to begin the game, or whether Jonathan Gannon would let Daniel Jones go 10 for 11 in the first half. None of it happened. They all did what they were supposed to. And it just goes to show, when this team is clicking like this and everybody's doing their job the right way, nobody could stop this squad. Nobody, because they have the most talent. They have the most talent. Let's see. Wardell says if they play like they did tonight, Arizona, here we come. Let's go. Let's go. Kim says 10. Jamie with a 10. Lucci with a 10. Go Birds with a 10. William with a 10. 10 out of 10. 8.9. George with a 10. Ralph with a 10. Let's go, man. Let's go. Kim says, I'm in Jamaica right now, repping. Shout out to you from Jamaica, wherever you guys are tuning in from. This is amazing. Wardell with a 10. Sean says, if this was a boxing match, the corner would have stopped it early, borderline abuse. I mean, this was a beatdown. And once again, I will go back to the main point that, divisional games are tough in itself. And then again, you played them already, blah, blah, blah. You put your third stringers in. But the Giants were on a hot streak. They were riding the high from last week, and the Eagles come in and just absolutely put them into the ground. The Eagles have something to hold over the Giants for some good time here, man. The Giants just can't win in Philadelphia. It has been 10 years, and it's going to be another 10. They can't win. They can't come into our house. I just thought it was so funny. And again, the Giants had a great year. They'll build on it. They weren't supposed to even be in the playoffs. But I thought it was so funny after beating that fraud Kirk Cousins and Minnesota Vikings that they thought they were coming into the same type of environment. Did they forget? Did they not do their research? Go back to 2017. Did you see the way? I was watching all the old playoff games, just seeing the crowd, the hype, the city. There was people tailgating since 8 a.m. In fact, they talked about this on a broadcast. They actually, the Eagles fans actually bought tickets to the Philadelphia Wings game, a lacrosse game, so that they could get into the parking lot early to drink since 8 a.m. That is the wild fan base of the Philadelphia Eagles, and that is the insanity and the passion that this fan base has. They were not coming in here and putting a beat down on the Eagles tonight. I'll tell you that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, there's not much more to talk about in this game in terms of situational things, because the Eagles just exploded off the rip, and there was nothing else the Giants could do in this game. Each team had 10 drives, but the Eagles had 400 plus yards of offense, and they did everything they needed to. Everything. The Eagles, 35 minutes, time of possession, Giants 24. That was one of my main keys. The other one was the turnover battle. The Eagles forced a big turnover and probably could have had a couple more, but man, it was huge. It was huge. Jamie says, who's coming to the link to get embarrassed next? Yeah, I mean, right now, teams should be asking themselves, can you keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles? Can you keep up? And Sean says, Jags had a legit shot today. Yeah, they did. Honestly, I thought the Jags were going to keep that magic going, but now it seems like the two journey teams are out of the playoffs, right? Giants are out and the Jags are out. So now it's down to the Eagles. The Eagles will play the winner of the Niners and the Cowboys tomorrow. Let me be on. Let me ask you guys in all seriousness, because we talked about, who the Eagles fans want to play, right? Who do you think's actually going to win? Is there a way Dallas can actually upset the Niners tomorrow? Let me know what you think about that in the chat. Buffalo and the Bengals going to be a very good game as well. So we'll see what happens there. But Eagles are down to the Final Four. They're down to the Final Four. So I am absolutely thrilled, and I am very happy. And there's nothing else you can say about this game. This was a complete beatdown, domination of a division team who had a lot of confidence coming in, and Eagles get it done. and they slaughter the New York Giants 38-7. And I will say it again. I start off the show. I will say it again. There has to be something with the football gods, that there has to be some reason this game was 38-7. There's some reason the Eagles got the ball back and Gainwell punched it in. Because the last time we saw this amount of craziness at the link, when the Eagles beat the Vikings 38-7, something's going on here. Stars are aligning, ladies and gentlemen. And I can't wait to see what happens. Do I think Dallas is going to win tomorrow? I think it'll be a better game than people may think, but I do believe the Niners will pull off. I think their defense is too much for Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Don't know what you guys think, but I think the Niners are the better team and will pull off. And the Cowboys better not have that kicker out there. I'll tell you that. Barbara says no one can keep up with the birds. No one can keep up with the birds. Let's see. Kim says, I feel like Dallas is actually going to beat the Niners. The NFC East is no joke. Well, there's the consolation prize for the Giants. You know, they were part of the NFC Beast, which is back. Sean says Niners 37-20. Evan says, hit that like. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you all for being here. We're live every halftime postgame. Next week, we'll be live here on A to Z Philly halftime and postgame. Definitely excited, man. Noah says 30-27 San Fran. Jamie says no one wants to play in Philly. No one. I'm going to say the same thing, Jamie, that I said about Daniel Jones. Brock Purdy has never played in an environment like he is about to play in next week. Just think back to that Eagles-Vikings game. Look at the intro to that game, how everybody was just amped up. Like, you knew the Eagles were going in ready in that game. And they can taste it. They're right there again. Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft, he's not ready for what's coming next week. He is coming into the loudest place he has ever been against the most ferocious defensive line he's ever seen. I don't think he's ready. Let's see. Fun says Kenny G had the quietest 100-yard game of all time. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think Kenny Gainwell had an amazing game. And I think he really toughed out some of the runs down the end. And I thought he had a big run to punch it in. So I think Kenny Gainwell had a great game and might earn himself a couple touches. You never know. I thought the whole running game in itself, like I said, 268 yards with 3 touchdowns. That's how you can win football games, man. And you can control the clock. I'll be honest. I thought Wink Martindale would actually bring more pressure than he did. You know, I thought he would bring more pressure. It seemed at times that, he was trying to press in a little bit. But overall, I thought the Giants would come out a lot more aggressive. Hurts did a great job of getting the ball off, scrambled a couple times. I didn't really see much that concerned me. And the Eagles' offensive line, you need to hope that Lane Johnson is healthy. You need to hope that Dickerson. You need to hope that Dickerson is good to go because he went down. But Lane Johnson, like we said all week, playing at 80% of what he usually plays at, maybe even lower in this game because he was hurting, man. Lane Johnson from the first drive, the second drive, was already limping down the field, and you have to hope he's okay. But the offensive line was fantastic tonight. They were impeccable. Nobody got through for the New York Giants. Nobody. They had 1 sack. 1. And I think it's also important to note, obviously this game went quick. Giants played a clean game, but the Eagles, other than a couple delay of games, I thought the Eagles played a very clean game tonight. It was just a sound win as a team. Very sound win. So, Eagles are going to win in the trenches. They have too many playmakers, too many weapons. And if I had to grade the team tonight, I thought everybody deserved an A+. This is one of the best wins I've seen this year for the Eagles. They've had a lot of good ones, a lot of great ones. This was a great one. It really was. So let's see. Kim says, I want this next 7 days to recover. Victoria says, Hurts is a very hard quarterback to get through. Exactly. And Hurts deserves all the credit. The story, getting here where he is, he's hungry. He's hungry, and he can smell it. 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So it's good to see the vibes high tonight. The Eagles blow the brakes off of the New York Giants. They quiet the chatter. If the people out there aren't talking Philadelphia, then what are they really saying? What are they really saying? You know? But nonetheless, Eagles get it done. Divisional round, check it off. Moving on, back in the NFC Championship. And hopefully the Eagles, they look at the future. They have a lot of good draft picks. I mean, they're picking what, 10th in the draft, 11th? And they have a lot of guys on good contracts. They obviously are going to have to pay Hurts, but you know, they have a lot of guys that are going to be here for some time. This is kind of the rebuilding, like the building the core part of it, but it's also the win now mode, which is a perfect win-win situation to have. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. And now the Eagles sit back and wait. We'll wait to see how this game plays out tomorrow. Fantastic job on all cylinders tonight. All cylinders tonight. Sean says, "Are you buying his post game drinks?" Hey, everybody might have to chip in, man. They might have to. The Jeffrey Lurie might have to buy everybody post game drinks because he was up there all night having a time. You see him? He was dancing around. He definitely took a couple shots tonight, and hey, why not? Why not, man? What a night! What a game! What a game, man! But anyway, thank you all for coming through. Wherever you're watching this, be sure to subscribe on YouTube to A to Z Philly. We're growing rapidly there. We'll be dropping videos, little videos, news, debates, rumors, all that stuff throughout the week, kind of breaking down whatever team the Eagles will go up against. So be sure you're subscribed on there. And wherever you're watching, hit that like button. It is a great night. I hope you all celebrate in safety. Don't do anything too crazy. And, one more week. One more week. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And then, boom, we're back at it, ready to break down the NFC Championship game. The Eagles are here. And now's the time. Now's the time. Thank you all for coming through. A to Z Philly, powered by BetMGM. And this is Eagles Post Game Live. You all have a fantastic night. Eagles get it done 38-7, and they're down to the Final Four. Peace.